The year I became a step-parent, the holidays were especially hard. My kid's mom died just before Thanksgiving that year. And I remember all of us being basically in shock through the entire holiday season. That year, a whole army of adults tried to make Christmas bigger and brighter than ever for our 7- and 8-year-old children. Presents, events, old traditions and new ones. There were beautiful moments, to be sure, and yet the strain was palpable. I remember the kids' maternal grandmother, our dear Omi, exhausted, pale, thin, coping with the loss of her eldest daughter by hosting us all for the holidays, for Christmas. I'm struck by the sheer force of will that it took for her to get through that time. My husband, too, was determined to follow the Santa rules that he had set. They gave him a sense of control and purpose. But for me, it felt like running a marathon with absolutely no training. Didn't it just make sense, more sense to hibernate for the season and mourn and let everything else go? But of course, that approach doesn't work with children. Ours bounced between sadness and joyful exuberance faster than I could keep up with. That year, even as their lives were completely upended, we succeeded in giving them moments of holiday magic. And though the grief will always be baked into our holiday memories, we now have 28 years of warm and cozy holiday memories too. So now you know one of my personal holiday stories. I know that each and every one of you has your own stories. Stories that to this day tinge your holidays, however much you anticipate them and enjoy them, with grief or pain, anger or regret, hopelessness or loneliness. Memories with loved ones are gifts of this season, sometimes, most of the time, I think. Yet those memories are often poignant when the loved ones are no longer with us. As I have said during too many celebrations of life this year, we recognize those lost opportunities to share our thoughts and our experiences with those no longer with us. We don't get to make new memories with them, and that's painful. And sometimes our good memories are overshadowed by the bad, broken trust, anger, fear, unresolved issues that still haunt us. It is true that all around us are bright lights and merry messages, yet in our hearts, not all is joyful. Now this year, many of you have also suffered challenges in your own lives or the lives of those you love. And these circumstances can also affect the ways that we approach the holidays. And then, of course, there is the ongoing, the never-ending, seemingly, impact of the coronavirus, right? And the pandemic. As much as we would like to move on to life as normal, some vision of normal, the latest COVID surge has many of us questioning what to do as we prepare for gatherings and events. Is it worth taking the health risk? Do I wear a mask or not? How close do I stand to strangers? How long should I stay? The calculus is exhausting. And it's frustrating, kind of angering, sad. And, add to that the pandemic has lowered many people's social stamina, right? Have you noticed that? That I'm kind of done earlier than usual. I don't want to go shopping all day. I want to come back to my little nest a little quicker than usual. Last weekend, after Guy Kay's celebration of life, I was flirting with an infant who was there. She might have been, 7, 8 months old, something like that. I don't know, but she was very shy. And it occurred to me that she had probably never seen a crowd that big, right? It's very likely she had never had to interact with that many people at once. And I could understand her being shy and a little uncertain. All around us are bright lights and merry messages, yet in our hearts, not all is joyful. It makes sense that not all is joyful. Love, loss, joy, and pain are all part of the human condition. Finding practices that let us hold the sorrow while recognizing the joy, that's what I strive for. That's what I find myself needing. And for me, that means taking time for being active and engaged, and for slowing down and reflecting, really let myself reflecting. And also for myself, it means taking time to reconnect with the beauty and the wonder of the season, the beauty and wonder that are all around us. My colleague, Erica Hewitt, suggests that it's possible to make the holidays fit our needs, but it requires ingenuity and vigilance. It requires acknowledging our limits. She says, to ask, what do I truly need? And how can I claim my longing for joy can happen only when we allow ourselves to practice vulnerability and take mindful pauses. Take a mindful pause now. What comes to mind when you ask these questions? How can I claim my longing for joy? How can I free myself up to let in the wonder of this time? Breathe into this question for a moment. Does anything bubble up for you? Anything come up? And I suggest that if it does, it's worth considering further. I did that yesterday, actually. I was feeling kind of just overdone, overwhelmed, so many things to do. And I felt like something was missing for me. I was trying to figure out what that was. And so I did what I often do when I'm just a little at my wit's end. I took a walk. I took a walk in my neighborhood, and it was getting toward dusk. It was still light enough that, people were out on the street. And I found that as I walked, I was taking in the sights. I was taking in what I was hearing, bird song and people and cars. And I was taking in the smells of wet pine trees and the odd flower in people's yards. And I was kind of rooting myself in my senses and in the present moment. And it took some time, but it happened for me. I enjoyed saying hi to neighbors, petting dogs and cats, and just being in the beautiful expanse that is my town, and the beautiful expanse that was that moment, that rich moment, the present. And when I take walks like that, I often think of people who aren't with me anymore. I'll think of my dad when I see an Oregon junco every time, I tell you. And I'll think my mother would love those clouds. And that's comforting to me. It's like they're with me. So that works for me. I need to get back into that sense of everyday wonder and everyday blessings and into the moment. And I offer that to you, and offer that you find whatever it is that works for you, that brings you back into the moment. Because in the moment, we can regulate our emotions and our nervous systems, and we can make decisions about what to do next and how to care next, what to do and what not to do, what really doesn't need being done. Hewitt points out that the winter holidays and holy days of Hanukkah, solstice, and Christmas share a central message that the holy, call it God or the force or love's impulse, will never give up on us, even when we feel like curling up in a dark room and revoking our membership in the human family. She imagines saying to the great all that is, if I believe that your love will never let us go, the least I can do is to be your spy on the ground. I'll keep watch for love, for compassion, for magic, for awe, and I'll report back regularly, just to feel close to you. I find that to be such a tender, touching message that I really take to heart. Why not have a conversation with Big L Love? Why not offer to keep watch, to recognize that love in the world, and to offer it back to others? Why not say, how can I participate in this love more? Maybe the answer is to reach out to others, to give gifts of material goods or kindness or care to those we love, to strangers whose lives and well-being are nonetheless bound to ours. Maybe it's to receive, to be open to the gifts coming our way, however small they may seem. And maybe it is to do what I did yesterday, to just take some time out, to eddy out, and to appreciate what is around us. Yesterday, I found myself to be a spy for love, and it was pretty nice. What might you notice if you were looking for it? Where might you spy some love if you were to take that mindful pause? I spy me some love right here in this room. It comes into this space with all of you who grace this community with your presence and your commitment. Here, you know the comfort of being together, the joy in caring for each other, the strength in working together to make the world a better place. Whether you're new to this church or an established member, may you feel at home here, with room to explore and grow by being your full self. There is hope in this community, hope of your own making. You give each other hope as you reflect each other's intrinsic value and worth. Hope that together you can be a force for good. Do you feel that? I hope you do. I hope you can take in the hope that is the product of your love and care for each other in this spiritual home. When I look back at that first Christmas with my new instant family, I remember that the greatest blessings of that time were family and friends who cared for us. The new extended family forged in those days got us through that time and hold us still. And that's happening here too. I believe it's happening in this congregation, this beloved community. And I hope it is happening in other communities in your lives as well. Whether it's the neighbors you say hi to or family and friends you stay in touch with. I think we need extra care this year. There's so much loss, so many friends and family who have died. We need to hold on to each other. And if you feel isolated or depressed, please, please reach out to me, to the caring committee here, to each other, to a support group or a therapist. This is a time to reach out and hold on. If you think your sadness is too much to share, too much for others to bear, please at least avail yourself of some companionship. Together, we can bear all the feels that this season brings. Whether you're in a place to give or a place to receive, you strengthen the fabric of this community. In this time of holidays and holy days, may you be gentle with yourselves and with others. May you find the time to reflect on what is in your heart, what will soothe your soul and ease your pain. Consider lighting a candle, be it for Hanukkah or Advent or solstice, or a reminder of the chalice that we light here together each week. May you also remember that you are not alone, that we are all part of that wider web of humanity and all life. May your sorrows be eased as they are carried together in community. May your love, comfort, and joy be amplified as you bear witness to each other's lives. May you find peace in being together, and may the bright lights and merry messages and love of this season make your hearts joyful this year and every year. May it be so. Amen.